Wondery Plus subscribers can listen to Crime and Sports early and ad-free right now. Join Wondery Plus in the Wondery app or on Apple Podcasts.
In the depths of an Atlanta forest, a clash between activists and authorities ends in tragedy. I'm Matthew Scher, and on my new podcast, We Came to the Forest, we expose the hidden truths behind a shootout that left one activist dead and countless lives forever changed. Binge all episodes of We Came to the Forest ad-free on Wondery Plus.
And welcome back to Crime and Sports.
Hell yeah.
Hell yeah, indeed. I think it's the first time you haven't said yay
in
about 25 episodes.
That was
Look
fun.
at you.
You're firing off the cuff.
You're off your game today, Joe. You're either off your game or you're on your...
I had such a long weekend.
That's
I was
why.
with Bert Kreischer all weekend. I'm exhausted. So yay!
Yay! Yay! I am James Pietragallo here with my co-host.
I am Jimmie Whisman.
Well, thank you guys for joining us. We're so excited to be here.
Yeah,
we
this is
always
great.
are. We're jacked up this week because we have one of the most twisted tales. This tale we have this week is something out of, you could make 4 Lifetime movies, like 3 true crime books, and like a shit movie starring a hot actress who wants to win an award. You know what I'm saying? Like, you could make all of that out of this one story. It's really, really ridiculous. Not too much sports to talk about this week. We'll breeze through this guy's career because he wasn't exactly a Hall of Famer.
It's a quick one.
And it's very, very interesting. Before we get into that, I just want to remind you guys, please rate and review on iTunes. Give us 5 stars. Say you're following instructions, following directions. Say whatever you want.
Please do.
Throw some inside jokes at us.
And make up for last week's slow week.
Come on, guys.
We
help
got
us
a
out.
few, but
Help
it
us
was
out.
fucking slow. The
It's
ones
all
that we
good.
got were fantastic.
We appreciate the shit out.
Those people
Honestly,
were really
guys,
sweet about it.
We joke around, but we really just appreciate any extra time you guys put in and giving us the 30 seconds to do the iTunes review. It means the world to us, and it really, really helps us kind of get out there and get known and try to have more people listen to this.
Right.
Also, too, and a little announcement, this is our final recording in the original Crime and Sports Studios tonight.
Right.
This is, we say goodbye to the Crime and Sports Studios. We are moving on up like the Jeffersons.
Right.
We are like George and Wheezy. We opened up 3 new dry cleaners, and we're moving into a new studio. So please, guys, if you could also, if you feel the need to dig deep, get on the Patreon page, Patreon/Crime and Sports, and throw a few bucks at us. There's some nice rewards on there, and try to offset some of these costs of our new studio.
Fucking costs.
And without further ado, Jimmie, good Lord, do we have an episode this week. This is a story I didn't know existed, first of all. I had no clue this was even these people were on the face of the earth. And there's a lot of press about this story, but they never really put it all together. There was a Dateline about this.
Is that right?
I watched the Dateline.
I watch Dateline all the time, and I don't remember this.
And it was on like 3 times, 48 hours. And I was watching it going, hey, you guys have like so little of it. What a shit job they did doing this. Yeah, I understand they're a professional journalism organization. We're 2 comic idiots sitting here telling it. But we're going to tell you a much better story than fucking Dateline could, because we dug a little deeper than Dateline, I feel like. I feel like Dateline had 3 people, and they were like, okay, there's the guy's daughters, there's him, there's her, that's the show. Let's do it. Moving on. There's the prosecutor.
Bullets fly, somebody goes to jail, done deal.
Put the setup in the background and let's do this. Give him some soft lighting so he looks nice, and let's work on this. So,
get Lester Holt out there and let's run it down.
This is the story of Eric Naposki. Okay, and it's not just the story of Eric Naposki. There are a few other players we'll get into. There's a couple, especially a lady. But Eric Andrew Naposki, he's born December 20th, 1966. Yeah. He is born in New York. He's a New York guy. He grows up kind of in the Bronx and Tuckahoe, in that area. Right. Tuckahoe's just north of the Bronx. If you're, right by, you're driving to Yankee Stadium, you're going to drive through Tuckahoe. So
he looks like a guy that was born in New York.
He does. He's he's kind of like a Guido-y guy.
Now he looks kind of like a fucking idiot.
Now he looks like a biker lunatic at this point.
He's got like chest tattoos.
At the time, he had some gelled hair.
Yeah.
Looked like he had like lip liner on in the pictures I saw from back in the day.
He fucking waxed his eyebrows.
Yeah, he was
a lot.
Yeah, he was a definite that kind of guy. He was a Jersey Shore before Jersey Shore, because this was like in the late 80s.
Lets you know he's into some fucking trouble.
He is OG Jersey Shore, this fucking guy.
The first Pauly D.
The first Pauly D. So, I mean, in high school, he moved around a lot. He went to 3 different high schools for some reason, which was odd in the whole thing. I think it might have had to do with football, though, because he has some little fighting with some coaches later on. So I feel like maybe that might have been it. He's all county in 1982 in high school. Ends up going to UConn for college, University of Connecticut, to play football, which is not a football powerhouse.
Right.
But, East Coast school.
They're known for their chicks basketball team.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah, when you're highest.
They're known for lesbians.
They're known for giant women dominating other giant women.
Most women that play basketball are into women. I'm sorry. I'll just say that.
It's been my experience of talking to them, and knowing.
I just don't want anybody to be like lesbians, blah, 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 blah.
No.
Chicks that play basketball dig chicks.
A lot of them are lesbians. Not all of them, but a lot of them are lesbians. That's just,
dig chicks.
Which I guess, I don't know. I don't want to get too sociological or scientific about this, but there has to be some correlation between being 6'8" and a woman that makes you go, what am I going to do with a fucking guy?
Right.
What am I going to do with him?
Right.
Just throw him.
I may as well be the guy.
Come on, this is ridiculous, or whatever. I'm not feeling like this guy.
I don't feel very feminine.
Not even that. Just the guys wouldn't seem that masculine.
Right.
Even. I think
exactly.
I'm putting it on us, even,
right.
and it's like But anyway, so he leaves UConn after a dispute with their head coach. He apparently did not want to be a silver-haired, middle-aged white man to young Naposki. And so he said, I'm leaving, goddammit, I'm getting out of here.
Who was the coach, did we know?
I don't remember. I don't have his name right here. It's a UConn coach. And
what year was this?
This was, I believe, 1985.
85, okay.
Or 86.
That's right, because he started the NFL in
88.
Yeah.
But this gets really whacked really quick, too. The funny thing is he leaves college, and I guess he's doing whatever for a year or two. The way he gets into the NFL, this is like a story where you want to root for. Yeah. There's a tryouts, because teams have tryouts where they invite some guys to, it's kind of like an open tryout, but an open invite tryout. They don't take it's not like...
It's not like Invincible.
Or the episode of Always Sunny in Philly about Invincible, which is much better than Invincible. It's not that, but they have these tryouts. So what? And
they're like, "Hey, you can play football. Come try out." Yeah, they have invites.
It's an invite thing. Right. You have to be an actual athlete.
Right.
So,
they don't want a fucking bartender.
Yes. Now he played in a small school, UConn, not a football school, and he left before it was over. So he didn't really, the NFL wasn't really knocking down his door.
Right.
Not even enough to get an invite to a training camp. So what he did was he snuck in through the fence at the stadium for the Patriots. That's like, he literally snuck in through the fence, acted like he belonged there.
Yeah.
He's a big guy.
Just crashed the party.
6'2", 230 pounds. He looks like a football player. You go, all right, well, this guy seems,
that guy belongs
here.
He
had his UConn gear on.
Yeah.
He played college. All right, this is something. And so they end up, giving him a number like everybody else and sending him out there. And I have an in their own words about this particular tryout here. In their own words here, it's so funny because you're going to like him for a little while because you're going to go, he's plucky. I'm going to root for this guy.
He's plucky like his eyebrows.
Absolutely, very plucky, Jimmie. I'd be saying he's waxy. Yeah. He's waxy. So this is in their own words about the Patriots tryout. Quote, I snuck in. They said, okay, the first guy to run the 40 is number 442. And I'm like, whoa, that's me. I go out and I run the fastest time in the country for a linebacker that year. The only other one who ran a 4.5 was Derek Thomas. Patriots general manager Dick Steinberg came over and said, who are you?
Wow.
So he thinks very highly
Derek
of himself.
Thomas was the only one faster.
Yeah, Derek Thomas is, if you don't
fucking
know football,
Hall of Famer.
Is a Hall of Fame linebacker. He died while he was still playing in a car accident, I believe, and was just...
Posthumous? What is it?
Post-posthumous.
Post-posthumous, that's it. Posthumous?
He's the poor man's Lawrence Taylor.
Yeah.
He's Lawrence Taylor without the killer instinct.
He was Lawrence Taylor in Kansas City. So you got to notch down everything. Everything's on a curve in Kansas City.
Everything's it's not quite there. There's a Patriots linebacker named Ed Reynolds at the time who played with him. He said, quote, about Naposki, quote, he was tough as nails. He was real quick, a high-energy guy, but he was undersized. I don't have anything bad to say about him. He was the type of guy who wouldn't hesitate going down a dark alley with you. He's just a fun guy to be around. So that's what you want your teammates to say about him.
That's so much that he just said.
He said a lot.
So much that's really the opposite of that man.
Yeah.
But yeah, I want that man on my side going down a dark alley, knowing what I know about this psychopath.
He's saying he's a stand-up guy.
Yeah.
A lot of people say this about him. He's a stand-up guy. I mean, that's it. If you hear any noises in the background, by the way, Frankie the Crime and Sports Dog is here. We had to bring her tonight, and she was scratching a little, and her collar's making a little bit of noise, so we really apologize. That's completely wrong to do. But you know what? You've all seen Frankie.
Yeah.
She hates these criminals as much as we do, and she wants in.
She wants out. She wants out of that cage. She wants to go bite him.
Cage. That's right. She's looking to bite somebody, so it's perfect. So here we go.
Sneak into this cage.
Sneak into this cage. So 1988, Dick Steinberg here, the original silver-haired middle-aged white man for the Patriots, said the guy who said, "Who are you?" He signs Mr. Naposki here. Yeah. So Naposki plays for New England in 1988, plays in 3 games.
All right.
He's a linebacker, kind of special teamer. He's an undersized guy, like Reynolds said. He's a
utility player.
Yeah, he's an undersized guy that plays on heart and that kind of thing. Like,
heart and aggression.
That guy will throw himself into a wall. He's a Lenny Dykstra of football.
Tough as nails.
Tough as nails. He's a Lenny Dykstra. I don't know what his smoking regimen was, but I'm sure it wasn't up to Lenny Dykstra standards. So he plays 3 games with them. 1989, he plays 1 game with New England, and he's cut from the Patriots for whatever reason, just roster reasons at that point. Linebackers usually
free up some space,
a deep position. That's kind of where guys get axed a little bit here. So Indianapolis signs him that year, and he ends up playing for 1 game with Indy.
Nice.
So, I mean, that's all right. He's doing fine. That's decent. 1990 goes by. I believe he had a couple of sniffs and didn't get signed by anybody, though. 91, he's signed by the Redskins.
Oh, wow.
Which they won the Super Bowl that year.
Oh, shit.
This is the year they go on to win the Super Bowl in 91, crushing the
Bills
in Minneapolis. Ring? He does not have a ring because he hurt his groin in preseason and was released.
Oh, no.
And later on, he's like, I could have had a Super Bowl ring.
Yeah.
Like, he was very kind of like, that sucks.
I played 6 games and got a ring. That could have been him.
That could have been him. Instead, no. So instead, this is when the World Football League was starting up, which is now NFL Europe, basically. They have the same teams, Barcelona Dragons, was it the London Knights or whatever
it's all goofy shit.
It's a bunch of European teams. They have a team in Frankfurt.
Do they really?
Yeah, it's like Frankfurt, Barcelona. I remember watching this when I was a kid. I was such a football
junkie. I remember the helmets with a
a
fucking sword on the Knight's helmet.
Yeah, they had like a big dragon.
On the red one, yeah.
It was a black helmet
badass.
with a big dragon.
Is it black?
I think it was a black helmet, I believe.
But the dragon's green.
Yeah, and they might have changed to green.
I remember when it started.
It's whatever.
It was cheesy as fuck.
It's cheesy as fuck. It's their minor league. It's their, hey, we can keep an eye on a guy and keep guys in football. Yeah. So for them, it was, hey, they can stay in football. They don't have to go get a job mixing cement somewhere. Instead, they can go to Barcelona like old Naposki here.
Have to be the refrigerator Perry laying bricks.
Now, speaking of, this is a Bix here. Jack Bicknell, who's Barcelona Dragons coach and the general manager here at the time, says one of the silverest haired statements I've heard in a long time here for knowing Naposki's future.
Yeah.
This is beautiful. He says, quote, "He was one of my all-time favorite kids. He was like a member of my family. If you knew him, he was everything you wanted in a teammate and a player. He didn't talk much, but when he did, everybody listened.
Oh, Jesus.
He was a good enough linebacker to have a 10-year career in the NFL, but was never in the right place at the right time."
He describes Naposki like his grandfather. When people talk, when he talks, you listen.
I'm telling you, my grandson,
a few words.
Little Jack, he could have gone all the way. Never right place, right time. That coach did him wrong. That one injury, that guy took a cheap shot, took his knee out. That's the type of thing he says here. Now, at the time, too, it seems like Naposki has his head out of his ass, actually. This is a statement that's, you go, wow, this guy knows the deal here. Here's an in their own words about being in the World Football League at the time, this low-level league.
Eric Naposki has some shit to say.
He's got some shit to say. He has a lot of shit to say. He talks a lot. He interviews.
Yeah, very.
He's got some crazy shit to say later we'll get into it. You're like, whoa, you're nuts, dude. He says here, quote, "On this team, everybody is very level-headed. Yeah, it's great to win and all, but we know right where we are. We're in the World Football League. Now, you can say that's only one step from the NFL, but it's also one step away from a 9-to-5 job. You nailed it, buddy.
That's a brilliant statement.
That's brilliant, and that's the type of thing you want your players going around telling each other, because then they might play harder.
Right.
They go, shit,
they might give a shit.
Good point. Yeah, this is better than mixing cement, like you said. So the World Football League ends up folding in the early 90s. They go under. So he's trying to figure out what to do with himself, obviously.
I mean, I can't imagine.
Yeah, he's just football, and now it's just
Depression. Yeah.
Now you're just a big muscly guy with nothing to do.
Big muscly guy with great eyebrows.
All muscled up and nowhere to go. His eyebrows were waxed to perfection.
They were gorgeous.
Imagine how good they were at this time, too, because he didn't have anything else to do.
Right.
He was probably just sitting there with a hand mirror, just a tweezer, just in case there's a stray waiting for one to pop up.
Like the magnifying mirror, too, with the light on it and shit.
Yeah, like a lady doing her makeup. Let me see my pores.
Yeah.
That's what he's doing here.
I want to see the fucking root come out with the hair.
I need to see it.
Gross.
So after football here, he starts some kids programs in a local gym, like that sort of thing. Yeah, he's trying to whatever. He starts a security company that does like security for apartment complexes, like the dipshit that walks around with his little badge on, his flashlight.
$25,000 a year.
He's making sure no one's breaking into cars.
He owns the company.
But he starts the company. It's not really going that great for him. He's in a lull at this point. Yeah. And this is the point here is about 93. This is all going on 94. This is the point where he meets a woman.
Oh, boy.
That for him and everyone else on Earth, it would have been much better if they never came across each other. Let's get into our B character for this. And she's really the A character, honestly, in this whole thing. She's the predator of this.
She's the prime suspect.
Yeah, but he's a fucking idiot that helps her. And so let's get into her.
Blinded by the poontang.
Blinded by it.
Damn
this
it.
is a woman. I'm going to give you all her names up front, and then we'll pick one and just go by that. Because she is called a million different things.
Here's the owner of the Snap and Gyro.
This is Nanette Ann Manekshaw Johnston Packard McNeil.
Sounds like trouble.
4 marriages, so 4 of those are...
Wow.
Yeah, 4 of those are married names.
The last name of McNeil.
We're going to go by... And I'll get to there's a McNeil connection with our other Lady McNeil.
Boy.
Lady McNeil of episode 8 loves steroids and pistol grip shotguns. The Ballad of Sally McNeil, which is one of my favorite names we've ever had for an episode. But we're not going to go by McNeil. Let's not get confused. Let's call her Packard.
All right.
That's her last married name, I believe. We're going to call her Packard. Okay. At the time, she is going by Nanette Ann Johnston. So Nanette Johnston.
Okay.
At this point, we're just going to call her Nanette. If we reference Packard, that's her last name. Nothing else.
That's a terrible name.
Fucking A. All right.
It's so hideous.
It's terrible.
I hate
whole
the name Nanette so much.
She is like, she's born in Chicago, and she grows up in Phoenix.
Oh.
She's a Greenway High School graduate.
Oh, boy.
We're not sure about that, actually.
She
went to
there?
Greenway High School,
attended.
let's say. So she's a Phoenix girl. She gets married at the age of 18. Marries a guy named Kevin Johnston, not Kevin Johnson. Kevin Johnston. He was 23. She was 18.
She's too old for him anyway.
Yeah, no shit. Yeah, for the real Kevin Johnson. They met. That's beautiful, Jimmie. Kevin Johnson, the mayor of Sacramento, former Phoenix Suns point guard, got into some trouble for possible underage diddling. We're not sure. We're not going to say it. We're not going to quite judge him yet. But if it ever comes down, you'll hear from us on the subject.
If there's a verdict to fuck off for his future, we'll find it.
We'll find it. Don't worry. So this is Kevin Johnson. They meet while working at an electronics store together called Federated Electronics. I don't know. You grew up in Phoenix, Jimmie. Do you remember?
I have heard of that.
I don't remember.
I think it was was that?
I have no clue.
It may have been a video store.
Possible. They call it an electronics store.
It may have been,
Who knows?
I think it was the video store. Go on.
I mean, it's an article in a paper from 20 years ago. So neither of them had a pot to piss in. They had no money between them.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? They're just making ends meet. They have a son together. You know, they're just trying to make a little family, make it work here.
Yeah.
Her and old Kevin Johnston. Now, she fancies herself hot shit, we'll call it. She thinks she's real hot, and she's attractive. She takes some like kind of sexy photos, I guess, that is all you see when she's referenced. She's probably taken 80 million photos, this woman. If you find out later on, and as we go through this, the type of woman she is, she takes a lot of pictures. And they pick 3 of them for every story over a 25-year period. That's
the ones in her like a vest that the shoulders are down and her tits are popped up.
She's in like a bustier type thing, kind of leaning back. Looking it's like a model. If she wanted to be a model and she said, "Let me get some shots for my portfolio," that's what she did. She had
because her pussy ruined some dude's life, so they got to pick the ones that make it look like her pussy could ruin somebody's life.
She had some guy that wanted to fuck her go out there and take pictures of her for free, basically, probably because. And I wouldn't say that randomly, but that's what she did because she's a manipulative bitch, this one. And I don't mean bitches and women, I mean bitches and fucking bitch because she's awful. That she cheated on poor Kevin Johnston constantly. I mean, constant. This is a story about a guy she met named Ted who bought her a BMW. She pulls in the driveway with a BMW one day.
Into Kevin's place?
Yeah, and he's like, where'd you get the BMW? From? And she's like, Ted gave it to me. We're just good friends.
It to me. He's so nice.
He believes in me.
He believes in me. And Kevin's not supposed to go, you mean he believes in your pussy? What are you doing?
Oh, shit. Now, Kevin says the final straw was seeing her leave a note on a nice car. She saw him do it. He saw her do it, and he went up to the car and read the note, and it was her asking him some guy to meet her for a date and shit. So finally he's like, all right.
Right in his face.
This gold-digging asshole, I can't deal with this anymore. So they break it off at this point, and they go back and forth, too. It's kind of it's a mess. He says later on, he would say, it's so sad, he seems like a nice guy when he comes out later on in court. Yes, surprise, there's court in this later. He says, quote, I couldn't afford the nicer things. He was trying. He couldn't afford shit.
Couldn't afford her.
And she wanted, whatever. That's what she wants. But so they divorced after about 5 years. And they didn't have any money to the point where the $500 fee for the lawyer to break them up, Kevin paid for in payments. So he didn't even have $500 in the bank. So I mean, they were living paycheck to paycheck, and
he's got to pay $20 a month to get a divorce.
Yeah, and meanwhile she's putting notes on every fucking car that's over $35,000 in the goddamn parking lot. Unreal. And Kevin, too, I guess and from all accounts, he was cool with, like, her new boyfriends. He was trying to be, like, amicable about it. Because she has a power. This woman has a power over men.
And at that point, you're probably still looking for the X-sex, and you're hoping that she comes back when she's desperate. Yeah. And just ride your dick till it falls off.
I mean, the way she just completely manipulates and turns on their head smart millionaire businessmen, entrepreneurs later on.
She's just a hunter.
This guy's some schmuck who works in an electronics store. He's got no chance. She's going to completely take him apart like a vulture. Forget about it. So they were nice. Said they reconciled actually at one point. This Kevin moves her out because he moved to California to get away from the whole situation because he couldn't take it anymore.
And there's hotter chicks out there.
I don't know why his son was still in Arizona, but he moved out to California.
They had a kid?
They have a kid. They have a son. God. And at one point, he's got custody of the son, which is interesting. That shows what kind of whack job she is.
Yeah, especially back then in the 90s. Chicks were winning. They're winning custody cases left and right.
She must have not. Well, I don't know. She uses the kids as kind of a pawn later. She's a terrible person. Once again, bitch not as in woman, bitch
horrible
as in
woman.
Asshole. Yeah. We're just calling a bitch because it's convenient.
Right.
And it's one syllable instead
I'd
of
rather call her worse. But...
Yeah. We'll go with another one syllable word if you'd like. Or would you rather hear bitch? You have those choices.
Right. It's either a bitch or a cunt.
That's it, Jimmie.
And the UK and Australia are fine with the latter.
Yeah.
But American
she is a cunt. This woman is just the legit definition. Cunt, not a woman. This human being is a definition of
This is the problem, ladies. So if lots of ladies listen...
This has nothing to do with ladies. This is a man acting like anybody. This is a cunt move here. This woman's a piece of shit. So he moves her out to California. I'm sure on his dime.
What?
Moves her out to California, but then found out that she hadn't told her family or her current boyfriend in Arizona that was what was going on.
Wow.
She just said she was moving out there for a little while. Didn't say to reconcile with her ex-husband.
Oh, what a bitch.
So she's horrible. He says...
She's a jerk.
Yeah, get the fuck... They break it off. She ends up moving to California, though, with the son. Would bring all kinds of different boyfriends to the kids' events, like birthday parties, soccer games. She's bringing a different guy every time, which is just an odd move for anybody.
As a parent, you can't do that. You confuse the fuck out of your kids.
One day, this is confusing. One day, came to a doubleheader soccer game, arrived at the first game with one guy.
Oh, no.
And then Mr. Naposki here arrives for the second game.
Wow.
She'd had doubleheader dates with a doubleheader soccer, and then she went home with Naposki, of course, because whatever. But unreal. So this woman... This is the type of woman we're dealing with here. She's
completely unstable.
You can tell she's not exactly the type of woman. Like if you had a friend or a brother or anybody, you would go, maybe that's not the one.
No,
maybe you should stay away from her. I don't trust her. She's a little
shifty. And worse than
bro.
that, all this guy's got to do is throw that into a judge's hands for a custody battle. That right there is why he won.
That's the thing.
Because you can't put a kid in the custody of a woman that's doing that. That kid will be fucked up by the time he's 8.
Absolutely. And now let's enter the third party here. Mm-hmm. Let's introduce the third party, this unfortunate son of a bitch here, this poor bastard who seemed like, by all accounts, accounts, was a very, very nice man that a lot of people liked and respected. And actually, I'll get into here, did some really good work for actual humanity.
Really?
The work he did made him a lot of money, but it actually helped shit.
It changed things.
He didn't just do some derivatives or some stock.
Right. He made a difference in people's lives.
He actually invented something that helped people.
Wow.
2 things, actually. Let's get into this here. He's born in 1939, grew up in the south side of Chicago. He was a poor kid. Yeah, he was a poor kid. Mm-hmm. Yeah, a white guy that grew up in the south side of Chicago. Yep. So that's how long ago that was. Yep. A poor kid, joined the Marines at 18, trying to do his thing. He, after the Marines, ends up moving out to California. Yep. Back then, they had a really good GI Bill. If you were in the service, you could go to college extremely inexpensively. So he studied biological engineering in college in California. Wow. He's a really smart guy. Became a medical supply salesman after that. By 1975, he applies for a patent for an improved dialysis catheter that allows blood to be removed and then returned in a single needle.
Wow.
So that's a big deal, and that's the standard now, obviously. That's what they do. He's the guy that invented that. Before that, they had to do, it was a very complicated thing. He's a genius, this guy, and that's just the first thing he
figured
did.
out how to not stick sick people twice.
Yeah, exactly.
Figured out how to stick them once and get it all done.
Keep it all flowing once, and it keeps the vein going, I guess, and all that shit. So he sells his invention to a medical firm in 1977. At this point, he makes like his first $1 million at this point. He does pretty well with it, but it doesn't kill it but he enough to quit his sales job and basically start working on shit in his garage. He starts working on inventions. In the early 80s, this is amazing. He did this in his garage. This is incredible. In the early 80s, he got another patent, and a patent's a big deal in the U.S., everybody. Like, to get a patent, you really have to have
something very different and specific.
And specific and planned and perfect, and you can't just be some jerk-off going, I got an idea. Right. They're not going to give you shit for that. It has to be very specifically yours.
Those commercials in midday when they've got, like, some Neanderthal hammering on a wheel, and they're like, call us for your invention.
Yeah.
Those are not the people calling that are this guy's caliber. This guy's way beyond
Those are people that are like, I got a thing so you can wrap it around your dog's head and they know what you're saying. No. This guy, instead, what he did is, this is amazing, it's another single needle system that removes the plasma from blood. He's the guy that invented
donating plasma?
No, before that, you could donate plasma, but you needed a giant centrifuge to get the plasma out.
So he invented just getting it out.
Getting it out. They did it before, but you needed a centrifuge. Right. I mean, it was like you needed a whole room for it. Now you need a needle.
He invented simplifying it.
Done. Yeah.
Wow.
Simplifying it. That's amazing, and a gigantic breakthrough, obviously, for everybody in medical.
Especially college students that are trying to donate.
Absolutely, for a little extra cash here. So basically, him and his partners sell this idea and sell this patent for tens and tens of millions of dollars in 1986. I mean, life's good for this guy. He's doing that shit in his garage. In his garage. That's how smart he is.
Who's coming over
Amazing.
that he's like, I got this idea to get plasma out of your blood. Can you come over so I can check?
The funniest part is, think about, like, he had like a dipshit neighbor that just like to wander around and be like, what's going on in there, Bill?
Hey, you guys got beers?
Yeah,
you guys got beers? I'm coming over.
Help you with anything? No. I'm trying to replace a centrifuge with a single needle that will take the plasma out of blood.
You want to try my arm?
Want a beer?
Want a beer?
Dangling 6-pack by the one thing.
Hanging the plastic.
Hold it out for him. And he's like, no, I don't. Closes his garage door, presses the button.
Get out of here.
Get out of here. So he's got tens of millions of dollars now.
What's his name again?
Bill McLaughlin.
Bill McLaughlin. Okay.
Bill McLaughlin. William Francis McLaughlin.
Okay.
Here we enter him. This guy, man, so he's got 3 kids. He's got a wife named Susan that he's been with for a long time. Yep. 3 kids with her. He's got two girls and a boy. And some unfortunate things happen to this boy, too. He buys a small plane, flies that around. He's got his pilot's license. He's got homes in San Diego, Hawaii, Vegas.
Oh.
He's killing it. He buys a large home right on the water in Newport Beach.
Wow.
That's his family home that they all live in. But he does
Newport's gorgeous.
Oh, it's fucking great. He's living paradise, basically. Yeah. He doesn't really have to do much. He does whatever he wants. He goes to Vegas for like 3 days. He flies his plane there, comes home every Thursday night from Vegas.
And he's got the life, too, because he's not like some fucking sports star or some celebrity that's like got a bunch of money and everybody knows what this asshole looks like. Yeah. So he's got to go be a big shot somewhere. He gets to live life
anonymously and rich as fuck.
Yeah. What's the word? Anonymity?
Posthumously anonymous.
Right.
That's, I think, what you're going for.
He gets to live a life of anonymity.
It's beautiful.
And he gets to fly anywhere he wants in his own little fucking plane with that in Newport.
Yeah.
Where if he sits down at some amazing steakhouse, somebody's like, what does that guy do? I don't know.
Who knows?
And he can just be like, who am I? And throw a fistful of hundreds at him and be like, I invented pulling plasma out of you, motherfucker.
Are you kidding me? Just toss a Mercedes.
I invented plasma.
Plasma, bitches. Start spraying blood on him.
I got plasma money.
Comes out of his wrists like a magician, like Job on Arrested Development. But where'd the lighter fluid
And
come?
it should be.
The same thing.
It should be that life for him because he did something amazing.
Little curveball. His son Kevin gets in. He's hit by a drunk driver in the late 80s.
Jesus.
And it's going to come into play later, actually, in the story. But he has some severe brain damage.
Oh no!
I have to find. I don't want to. I'm going to butcher this term. The medical term for it, I believe, is pudding brain. Is what he had from that because he's
a pudding child.
He's a pudding child. Yeah. He is Ray Caruth's son, all grown up. Man. No offense to anybody. And I'm sorry to laugh at this, guys, but the recording I had to listen to, and I'll get into it when it comes up. No one cannot laugh at this. I'm sorry. It's sad. Maybe I'm a horrible person.
Yeah.
We're comedians, so we see it when the worst. This is. I'll tell you later. Hold off, okay? Because it's funny.
So he's got terrible brain damage.
It's terrible brain damage. So at this point, also his wife Susan files for a divorce in 1990. So
Why
I don't know.
Would she want out?
I don't know. Maybe she wants to get some dough and hit the road and go fuck 25-year-old guys. I don't know what she wants to do.
Live a lifestyle of unbelievable proportions.
Who knows? Maybe
in
she wanted to get away from Pudding Boy. I have no idea. Maybe she was like, I can't take it anymore.
I don't know what the fuck he's saying.
Maybe she's a bad mom. I have no clue. I don't want to take care of him anymore. Apparently they go through a nasty divorce.
Really?
It's really nasty, really contentious. Early 1991, they finally hash it out, sign a deal, and he was just like drained, like not monetarily drained, emotionally.
Yeah.
He had tons of money, gave her some money, whatever, but he was just like, fuck me. My life is just, I need to find somebody who's very lonely. Starts looking for companionship in singles ads.
Oh, no.
He comes across an ad.
Millionaires, don't do this.
This ad reads, this is early 1991.
I've got a snap and gyro.
This is the text of the ad. It might as well. It says, first three words are all caps. Wealthy men only.
Oh, boy.
Single white female, 25, 5'5", 100 pounds, classy, well-educated, adventurous, fun, and knows how to take care of her man. Looking for an older man, 30-plus, who knows how to treat a woman. You take care of me, and I'll take care of you.
Older man is 30-plus?
To her, she was 25 at the time. She's 25, so she's just like older than me.
So she's saying older than me, yeah.
What she said is...
And she's clipping that out and taping it on everything better than an Altima back then,
This is what she said. She said, okay, I just want rich. I don't care how old they are. But under 30, they might not be as impressed with me because they can whatever. But over 30, they're going to be like, oh, this is a hot 25-year-old.
Right.
I'm going to have a little more plus. So I think she's manipulative.
Very strategic.
I wouldn't think that unless I knew the whole story.
Right.
So now I do because I do know the whole story. But this is the ad she puts in this is Nanette Packard's ad.
That's what Bill reads.
This is what Bill reads. Old Nanette here puts this in. Bill reads this and apparently was taken by it because he ends up contacting her.
Yeah.
Her claims are all fucked up too because she says well-educated. She claims to have graduated from ASU, which wouldn't really be well-educated anyway. I'd be educated, but
you're educated in
some
the
education.
Content of liquor of different. I mean, that's all you know.
You've got some STDs. You probably know how to take a cream to your Johnson. That's about it. Other than that, you don't know what the hell you're doing. So she claims this though. She later claims to have an MBA. The whole deal. Kevin Johnston, her first husband, later says, he says this later, this is a great quote. Quote, to my knowledge, she never even graduated from high school. That's beautiful right there. She's just full of shit, this lady, completely. After he answers the ad, they quickly become close. Right away, she knows how to play this guy.
Yeah.
She's 25. Apparently, she knew how to reel an older guy who was feeling lonely, whose wife broke up with him, and as a pudding boy.
Who just went through the shit.
Yeah. I mean, she's like, your pudding boy is fine. I don't mind him. And then they got together.
Oh, I know exactly what he said.
I know what he said. He said, blah, 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 blah. It's fine. So
I speak pudding.
I speak fluent Jello. It's fine. So He's buying her jewelry, he's buying her diamonds, she's got a Rolex watch. You know, he's just lavishing the whole lifestyle. Idiot. It's crazy. They're going on ski trips to Europe, like not just regular Europe ski trips, like those secret places rich people go, shit like that, where you're like, where is that? I never even heard of that.
She's got to have unbelievable vagina.
It's apparently from what is said by everyone, that's her best asset is she knows how to reel people in sexually and get them to do whatever the fuck she wants, and that's her bait.
She fucks good. That's it.
And she's got to be smart to be able to do this too, because she manipulates a lot of people. At least clever. At least
minimum.
Clever. Yeah. In the end, she doesn't look so smart, but still. Yeah. But the amount of time she gets over on people, you're just like, wow, this lady has got some set of fucking balls on her. And so the only way to put it, like if I ever met her, I go, you got some balls on you, lady. That's all you could say to her. Like, that's it. So in 1992, she wins custody of her 2 children from her ex-husband. Yeah. Now, at this point, too, she had already been living, she moves into the Newport Beach mansion.
Wow.
She
rushed in.
Bill McLaughlin says, get on in here, honey. You're coming in with me. Let's spank it
Good, because I can get custody of my kids and get more child support and all that shit, too.
Kids come on, too. I mean, shit. She said, come on, kids. We're going to live in a mansion on the beach. And they were like, great.
Absolutely.
Sure. Well, Dad's probably got a 2-bedroom apartment in Torrance or something. And she's living in Newport.
He's living in Riverside.
He's living in Riverside in a manufactured fucking home. So they all move in, the McLaughlin
clan,
the McLaughlin clan home here. Within a couple weeks, I mean, this is like, she's moved in within like 3 weeks, 4 weeks, like within a month, she's in the house.
She has sunk the hooks in.
Quickly. Yeah. And her kids are there a couple months later. I mean, here's the whole family, gives her credit cards, gives her a Mercedes, just like no limit expense account. Just here you go, lady. Just
spend it, honey.
Knock yourself out. He said at this point to be worth $55 million. In 1991 money.
And after a divorce.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, and that's 1991. So keep in mind, $55 million in 91 is a shitload more than that now. That's a lot
25 years ago.
That's a lot of money. So,
whoosh.
Bill has, like I said, 3 grown children. The 2 daughters don't live there. Only Pudding Man lives there. This poor guy. Yeah, Jesus, severe brain damage of old Kevin.
And this whole time, is she carrying on a relationship with Eric Naposki?
No, not yet.
Okay.
They've met, but she is... Apparently, it comes out later, she's just anything she comes across.
Wow.
She likes to have sex with younger, attractive guys.
Yeah.
And Bill,
And she'll deal with Bill for the expense account.
Bill's not a hideous guy. He's not like he doesn't look like Captain Lou Albano. He's not some fat, hairy, mole-filled guy. He's whatever, but he's a 50-something-year-old guy who's just like, looks like a 55-year-old businessman.
Right.
You go, whatever. If
he had saggy balls and a Tommy Bahama shirt.
If he had a nice 45-year-old wife, you go, perfect. But a 25-year-old wife, he might be pushing it a little. It's twice your age, honey. So, I don't know. Buys her a huge engagement ring and proposes in 1 year. Whoa. 1 year, he's proposing.
He's trying to rub it in that ex-wife's face.
It has
Look
to be.
what I can get.
And there wasn't even Facebook.
You want to leave me? Bitch, look what I can get.
This is just knowing it in your own head. This wasn't like, I'm going to post it and everyone will know. This was like,
he wants to send a Christmas card to her every year. That's all he wants to do.
Absolutely. The 2 daughters do not like her at all. They tell him that she just wants money, and what are you doing with this girl? Right. She's our age. What's fucking going on here?
I saw her blowing the pool boy. What are you doing, Dad?
I saw her blowing the pool boy while the landscaper got her from behind. This is not cool.
And the AC guy was jerking off, watching the whole scene.
Yeah, so he was filming it, the AC guy. He was filming it. So Bill is so impressed with her and doesn't give a shit what the daughters say so much that he makes her a $1 million beneficiary for his life insurance policy.
Oh, that was fucking dangerous.
This plays out like a Lifetime movie where you'd be like, no one's that stupid.
Right.
No, this is vagina control.
The
She's
guy,
controlling him.
The man invented an easy way of drawing out plasma. He invented a simpler way of getting urine out of blood for people with bad kidneys. But that's how dumb men are, is that we can invent and create such amazing things, but the minute that great pussy comes into our lives, all bets are off.
It's true.
You can't guess what we're going to do next.
The same way a single needle from him can make plasma separate from blood. This is how the female genitalia can separate the logic and the intelligence from a male brain.
You have no idea what we're going to do.
Strips it away, man.
Baby, you're never going to guess what I did. I got rid of all my shit and put everything in your name. Why the fuck did you do that?
And just to make sure, too, he wants to really, if I'm dead, I want you set up. Also, puts her in the will for $150,000, and also too in the will was a stipulation that if he died, she'd be able to stay at the house for a year without having to pay anything. The guy would be taking care of that.
You're all set up for an entire year to
you,
take
your
care
kids,
of your life.
you have $1 million, you can go start another life.
Go figure out your own life.
He wanted to make sure they were well taken care of. He genuinely cared about this girl. He really did. He cared about her. Everybody says he cared about the kids. He seems like a decent guy. Basically, so the daughters hate him. Pudding Brain has no opinion. Doesn't give a shit either way. He's like, she's pretty. He doesn't care. So
she blew me. It was great.
It was great. So, God, Jesus, we're sorry. Honestly, we don't mean to be imitating the mentally disabled here, but
I just picture
Jesus Christ, man.
Did Dateline get a hold of him? That would have been awesome if they interviewed him and were like, how was she? She was great at blowjobs.
Oh, he doesn't talk that well at all. It's you can't understand it.
Talk that well at all.
It's so rough, man. This poor guy. I feel bad for him, honestly.
He has the voice definition of like somebody right after they come. Like always, he's like
always,
that.
Yeah, always. So the daughter said she'd do anything for money, is what they're saying. Everybody around them said they didn't seem to be in love. They seemed to be like
in lust.
No, not even. They didn't seem to have any like
in dumb.
They were just like, we are together.
Wow.
And I'm here, and I'm going to be your wife, and I will spend your money, and we'll be a couple, and here are our children, and present it. And they were just like,
and I'll rub your penis.
Like they were cast as a couple, and they were just like, I guess we're a couple now.
Wow.
Like it's that kind of thing. Like he just wanted company. I feel like he wanted to feel loved, probably.
Yeah.
And whatever.
He was just hoping that somebody would do it right.
She's having several affairs, like I said.
Weird.
She's really weird.
Yeah.
Super weird. Bill had no idea. He had no clue what she was doing. He's out of town. He's got business shit. He's coming back. He has no
and
idea.
And this is 91.
He trusts her.
Right.
And there's no
a
cell
pager's the best thing he's got at this point.
That's it. And one of these boyfriends being Naposki. That's her main squeeze, is Naposki on the side. Yeah, he's a strapping football player.
Yeah.
He's 6'2", 230 pounds, muscle.
Muscle is
eyebrows plucked to the moon. I mean, he's
wearing Oakley blades.
At the time, he's a hot shit catch for this broad. She's like, this guy, he's got something going on.
At 91, he's wearing like neon colors too.
Oh,
big time.
He is. He had giant orange Carl Kanai pants that you could see from space, probably, those things. All the friends were surprised all of Naposki's friends were surprised at how into her that he was. Like, they all said he was really good looking, outgoing, confident. The one friend said, quote, he, quote, dated a lot. Like, he said it like he was banging everything that moved, is basically what he said when he said a lot. He goes, because he dated a lot. Like, he was like, damn, we were jealous, basically.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, he's a cool guy. He played in the league, like we said.
He had stories.
He had stories.
He was
like
an impressive dude in L.A.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So they were very surprised, but then they all said she was so damn sexy. They were like, oh, you know what? She's so sexy. I could see why, And they all said she was very assertive and very smart.
Yeah.
And she was he's telling the family, his sisters and shit, she's the one, man. This is the one here. Wow. And they also thought that she was something she wasn't, because she was telling them total lies about herself. She's telling Naposki, his family, she's saying that she had an MBA, like we said, and I don't even know if she graduated high school, saying that she's got a master's, saying that she wrote business proposals and did medical sales for a living. Does this sound familiar?
Oh, no.
Told him that she just invented a needle that separated plasma from blood.
What?
Yes.
She stole his invention, bitch.
She's just taking his identity.
Yeah, just taking the credit for everything.
All this money, this Mercedes I have and all this, it's my money because I did this.
Right.
Told everyone that she took the invention to her boss at the medical supply company, who was Bill McLaughlin, that's what she says, and then they became business partners. She's telling him he doesn't even know they're together. He thinks that they're business partners and that she's trying to just, get this business deal and get her millions and get the fuck out and get away from
she's
him.
living a double life.
She's who knows how many other people,
unbelievable amount of lives.
That's the thing. She's got it going. This lady this is why I said what I said in the beginning. It gets so much worse than this. It's
Jesus.
awful. She told everyone that that Bill sold her invention. Then at that point, she said Bill sold it for all these millions of dollars.
Yeah.
I have $55 million now. Said that he was her business partner. The whole this is like as sociopathic as you get. She's
terrifying that this person walked around. It's terrifying.
Terrifying, yeah. It really is. It's very much like human, like animal, or a plant that's pretty and it eats you,
and,
or sprays poison in your eyes.
She is a predator.
She's a predator. Yeah.
By and large, she is 100% predator.
Absolutely. She said that the house, they had other houses, but the Newport house was an investment that they were put in the business, like a business investment.
That's what she's telling everybody.
Telling Naposki that McLaughlin and her have made a business investment in this house. And they sleep in separate bedrooms. There's no hanky-panky. This is just a business relationship. And he's going, he's like 50 years old. Yeah, sure, I'll buy that. He's not thinking they're together because she's saying, I made all this money on my own. What the fuck does he need her? She need him for, is what he's thinking. So Naposki said, he just never even suspected it. That's the thing. He kept saying he never suspected it. At this point, summer of 1994, where we are now, Nanette starts telling Naposki that Bill McLaughlin's been sexually assaulting her. Starts telling Eric that basically...
A beefcake giant man... The only reason for that is so that man will harm him.
Exactly.
The only reason.
Started saying that he would sneak into her room at night and sexually assault her and shit like that. So really calling him like this awful sexual predator.
A monster.
And he's in love with this woman. And, he's in the end. I'm sure he's on roids probably. Out of his
my
ass
God.
At this
as
point.
Big as he was.
Especially because he's not in the league. He's not getting tested for anything at this point. So at this point, one thing goes well for Bill. He's involved in a long lawsuit for like a couple of years with an ex-business partner named Hal Fischel. And in this suit, Fischel loses the suit to McLaughlin and has to pay Bill $9 million.
Wowza.
So Fischel's not happy with him at this point, this former business partner. So that's
key.
That hangs around for a while. At this point now, we're at December 1st, 1994, when shit starts getting hot and heavy here.
Okay.
Eric gets a job remember he had a security company. He gets a job as the head of security for a place called the Thunderbird nightclub. And this place is 131 yards. It's measured out in court here. That's surprise. Spoiler alert, guys. There's a court case coming up. The club is 131 yards from Nanette and Bill's Newport Beach home.
All right.
He's literally in the backyard, just hanging out.
He can watch the house from his bouncer's post,
waiting to come on in and lay some pipe. He's hanging out there, right? Also, too, at this time in November '94. Eric and Nanette are seen shopping for $1 million homes.
Oh, weird.
They're shopping for big houses together, and they're telling the realtors, they're looking to move into, if they're looking to get something like spring of 95, spring of the next year.
Pretty quick here. As soon as the life insurance pays, that's when we need to get a house.
She has no fucking money, and he's in debt out of his ass, this guy. He's got like failed businesses. He bombed out of the league.
Tons of money and eyebrow wax.
Yeah. Oh, God. The eyebrow. At this point, I feel bad for his eyebrows, because they must have been getting out of control, because he had to choose food or eyebrow wax. I don't know. He probably chose the wax.
I'm sure he did. He's not going to let those get bushy.
No, come on now. The Shore would be so disappointed in him. I'm telling you, man. So December 13th, 1994, Bill McLaughlin calls his brother Patrick. Bill's in Las Vegas because this is a Wednesday night.
All right.
And says that he feels like his life is in danger and he feels like someone's out to get him. And Patrick's like, what do you mean? Who's out to get you? He's like, I don't know. I just feel like something's going on. I don't feel right.
Somebody's I got $55 million. I'm in California, and I've got a hot girlfriend that's very, very young. I feel like somebody's out to get me.
And an ex-business partner that just had to pay me $9 million who's not fucking happy about it either.
Somewhere, I just feel like this universe is going to fuck me.
Yeah, I feel it. I feel the pressure. I feel it right in your stomach, you know what I mean?
Spidey senses tingling. I'm about to get fucked over.
Absolutely. So, on his schedule, he's on his regular schedule. The next day, December 14th, he flies home from Vegas in the evening, drives home, hangs out, finds a note from Nanette.
Oh, she is good at these notes.
When he gets home, just saying, hey, I'm going to be at the soccer game late.
Gotcha.
Because she is taking her son to soccer that night. These soccer games where she brings all her boyfriends.
Right.
But she's taking her son. Apparently, it's the championship game that night. And so she said she's going to be home late because there's trophies and all that shit. So at 9:10 p.m., Bill comes into the kitchen. He starts making a sandwich in his own home. He's just like, fuck it, I'll make a sandwich.
Typical Wednesday night.
And think about it. He probably, the wife wasn't there, and he's like, all right. Maybe he was going to go out to dinner or something, or order something in, and he was like, I'll just make a sandwich.
Just make a ham sandwich and watch Jeopardy.
He's got lots of money. He's probably got like good cold cuts too. He's got like good lunch meats.
He's got the nice ones, the boar's head.
He's got boar's head, or like even better. You know what I mean? He's got a real nice one of these real like boutique delis he probably goes to and gets like
something shipped in,
imported shit like. Yeah, $38.99 a pound prosciutto, shit like that. So he's doing
unbelievable corned beef from fucking Ireland.
So he starts laying down the corned beef, and lo and behold, out of nowhere, out of the darkness, someone comes up and shoots him 6 times.
Oh, Jesus.
Unloads 6 shots from a 9mm.
Got a lead sandwich for you.
And I have some lead for your sandwich, pal. So he gives him some lead for his sandwich, and he bleeds out on his kitchen floor at this point. Yeah, that's the end of Bill McLaughlin.
Jesus.
Kevin, Pudding Boy, is upstairs listening to music at this point. He hears the gunshots, and he meanders down there. I don't know if he ran. I don't know what his capabilities are.
He got downstairs somehow.
He gets downstairs. No one's there. He calls 911, and this is the saddest shit I've ever heard in my life. And this is only a comedian can laugh at this. And possibly the British and the Australian and the Irish, because Americans are going to be pissed off at this probably for us. But Jimmie, this is the worst moment of this poor kid's life probably. Mm-hmm. He's brain damaged too, so he's having a hard time processing. He comes in the kitchen, and his father, who he loves and treats him well,
care of him,
is just bleeding out from 6 gunshot wounds, dead on the floor. He's in a pool of blood. I mean, imagine how horrible this is.
I can't imagine.
He calls 911, and imagine calling 911 because your dad's shot, and you're like, oh my God. And they can't understand a fucking word he says. The recording I heard, the first thing was, I can't understand you, and then you hear him go, my father's dying! I'm sorry, I'm not trying to be a dick, and I'm not... That's what it sounded like. And I don't have the audio recording, and I don't know if we're allowed to... whatever, I don't know if that's fair use, so I have to imitate him. And the lady's like, what? Your mother? He's freaking out, and I'm like, oh, this poor kid, man, Jesus Christ. And if I've never felt worse for someone, and I'm laughing at the same time. There's tears rolling out of my face.
A little bit conscious at the moment.
Oh, he's dead.
He's knowing that even if he's not dead yet, he's like, I'm completely fucked. This is my help. This is my help. A guy that can't fucking say anything.
Say shit. So luckily for Bill, he was dead anyway, and the extra time it took for that didn't matter. This poor bastard, man. God, I feel bad for this kid. So he's been brain damaged. He found his dad on the ground. Like this kid's got it bad, man. So out of this whole thing, there's no witnesses because Kevin didn't see anything. No. They come up with no fingerprints, no weapons. It was early DNA, so they couldn't do like the trace DNA where they can get like a finger oil off of something. They couldn't do any of that shit yet. Basically,
they got a sweat drop and they fucking lock him up.
You needed like a hair with a whole follicle attached.
You needed a person holding a gun over a body.
Or like a quart of blood to fucking do it back then. You couldn't like Q-tip the wall and say, oh yeah, Bob was here.
Right.
It doesn't work like that in 1994 like they do now on TV. So that's the problem there. And they're asking all the neighbors about the situation, and they're like, oh, what do you know about it? And the guy goes, that sounds like somebody was mad at him. No fucking shit, asshole.
Solid,
that is the most solid statement of the year. Are you a reporter?
Are you a detective? Because you should be.
I don't know. I'm thinking about
Listen, Kojak, you are amazing at this.
Someone was mad at him. One shot, I don't know, but 6, they were mad. Somebody was pissed.
He's like the Ice-T from fucking SVU.
Yeah. The
just
John
says
Mulaney
the super fucking obvious shit.
Unreal, man. So police find out. They're doing the course of their investigation. They go through they're trying to find out where everybody was. Because at first they immediately think of Hal Fischel. Because they're like, didn't this guy just win a $9 million lawsuit last month? Let's take a look at that
Let's see who doesn't want to pay him $9 million.
Absolutely, but he had a solid alibi. He was in Santa Barbara, 150 miles away, which I don't think he would have shot him himself anyway. For $9 million, to hire a guy for $100 grand and have him do it anyway. Maybe shoot him 6 times with a 9mm. But it's not him.
All right.
It's not old Hal Fischel.
No.
The crime and sports movement right here is going to clear Hal Fischel as a suspect. We're going to move on to the family like the police did here. They moved on to the family because they wanted to know who would know his schedule, who would know where he was. Right. Because you'd have to know if he was home or not. Yeah. He's gone half the time.
Right.
So if you didn't know, it's not a random thing.
No, he doesn't just hang out at home all day.
Yeah, absolutely. So, police find out that Nanette was at her son's game, but they find out it was with Naposki. So police asked the family, the daughters, and do you know this Eric Naposki? And they said, no idea who that is.
Never heard of him.
Never heard of him. Because she didn't bring him around because that's her goddamn boyfriend. Yeah. So the police tell them that was their boyfriend, and the kids were like, they were upset, obviously, and Joe chagrined.
Well, that makes a lot of sense. Now we get it.
Her dad's been taken this whole time.
We've been telling him so much.
They're like, no shit, that makes sense. And of course, they're like, yeah, he's a former NFL player. Well, they're like, that makes a lot of sense. Yeah. So Naposki says that Nanette told him about the murder. He said, I didn't know anything about it. Naposki said she told him about it, and she told him that it was all Hal Fischel. It had to be because of the lawsuit. And he was like, yeah, that makes sense. That's his claim. He's going, yeah, sure. Yeah, that makes total sense,
Right.
So during this investigation, physical evidence here, 2 keys were found at the residence. One in the lock still, and then one on the ground next to the door. You know how when they make you keys, they might make you 2 and they put it on that shitty little key ring that you can just go like that with?
Right.
I feel like maybe that's what it was. There's 2.
He just ripped one and flung it.
Flung one. These are freshly made keys, by the way.
Wow.
Freshly cut keys, and we'll get into
Still
that
got flakes on
a
them.
little better. Yeah, they're real sharp on them. They could tell they were freshly cut. The same key opened the front. There's like a little gate from the sidewalk into the house, and the same key opened the gate and the front door. So you only needed 1 key to get in the house.
Gotcha.
Basically, police start focusing, like I said, on the inner circle. Main thing is who has access to keys.
Right. To make
copies of. That's so they're like, it had to have been someone that had key access. Otherwise, this doesn't work. So they start looking at all these different people. They did forensic tests on Pudding Man's hands, on the Pudding Boy's hands, just to prove that he didn't fire a weapon that day. Like he could have fucking hit the guy with it anyway. I think he would have heard him.
He can't even talk.
He would have been like, oh shit, put the guns up.
Right.
It would have been fine. So both the daughters and his ex-wife, Susan, all have alibis and no motive. Susan already got his money. The daughters love him to death. And, they don't have any motive for this. So Nanette, on December 16th, this is the very next day, December 16th, 1994, Nanette calls her ex-husband, Kevin Johnston, who was at the soccer game the night before, and saw her with Naposki at the soccer game.
Yeah.
And that's partially her alibi, so she's depending on that. She says to him that, don't worry, I didn't kill McLaughlin. It's not like that. I have an alibi. She said she was shopping at 9/11 when the 911 call was made, because they're saying the time of the murder was like 9:10. She's like, I was shopping at 9:10. I have receipts for it. Also tells him, this is insanely suspicious, tells him that when cops ask him about seeing her at the game, she said, quote, you don't need to tell him anything about Eric because he's not involved. You're like, just don't even mention that you saw him there.
Don't say shit about that guy that's laying the pipe.
It's just going to put the investigation in a weird course that it doesn't belong in. Let's just keep it focused.
Let's just make sure that they stay on the right track, find the right killer.
Keep the scope narrow.
Probably not Eric.
Not Eric at all. So a week after the murder, the police begin to follow Naposki around because they're like, okay, no one else who had key access has any reason to kill him.
Right.
We're skeptical of this broad, especially after they hear shit from the family and the daughter's going, we never trust her and all this kind of thing. So they follow him around for a week, and he said he noticed the cops were following him for a week. He's like, this is uncomfortable. This is odd.
Jesus.
So then they finally bring him in for an interview. I think they're just trying to spook him so maybe they could pop a confession out of him once he came. So
we're on to you, sir.
And the first detective says, for 20 years, said he thought Eric was being evasive from the moment.
From the start.
From the start. And this question this is insane. This is, a politician couldn't answer this evasive. Like, it's insane. The detective asked him if he and Nanette were boyfriend-girlfriend type of relationship. And he said, quote, well, yeah, I wouldn't say it's a solo, total, like, I have girlfriends, What the fuck does that mean? What does that mean?
Are you guys intimate or not?
That has no meaning whatsoever.
I got girlfriends and stuff. Solo, total.
I wouldn't say a solo, total, like, I have girlfriends, Was that a question? Was that a statement? What did you just say, sir? Like, that's incredible. And the detective from that, great detective, said, I believe he's being a bit evasive.
Yeah.
No shit. Really.
You and the guy from the news coverage should be partners.
Yeah, you guys together would make a dynamite team.
I think somebody's mad at him.
I think somebody's mad.
He's being evasive.
That was the neighbor.
I think that neighbor should
show
be
journalist over there. Joey Pulitzer Prize over here. So Eric said at this point, he tells them that he doesn't even own a gun. He's like, I don't even own a gun. I don't know anything. Then a little later in the interview, he said, well, I have a 9mm gun. I do have one.
I don't own a gun. I got this 9mm, but I don't own a gun.
And he tells the police, I have no idea where the weapon is either. I don't know where it is. And because he later claims that he said he bought that gun for Nanette, and that was her gun. He gave it to her. So that's why he bought it, but he didn't have it. Up. So he said, but at the time, he said he didn't tell the police that. He just said, I don't know where it is. At the time, he didn't because he said he didn't want to start throwing around names and things like that. And they're accusing you of shooting someone. Right. You're saying I have that guy. No, throwing around it. You're saying I didn't shoot this guy. Right. I don't even have that fucking gun because it's hers. Right. That's not throwing around names. I don't want to throw around
names, though.
I don't want to throw around any names. I figured I'd just go to prison for life. It's easier that way. Go to prison for like 50 years. I don't want to throw around names. I'm uncomfortable with that. He's uncomfortable,
I don't want to talk about
Jimmy.
this gun anymore.
Guys, come on. Don't you know about anything else? See any good shows lately? I mean, we've been to a good place to eat. I mean, come on, guys.
He has nowhere to get good cold cuts.
No culture here? Yeah, is there anywhere to get good cold cuts? I've had this $38.99 a pound prosciutto lately. That was amazing. I mean, never mind. So Naposki says he was convinced that Nanette had nothing to do with this murder at all. Thought police were trying to frame them both. So he's trying to cover for her too. He's trying
really running with it.
Yeah, he's saying I don't know where the gun is, rather than saying gave it to her.
Right.
I don't know. Hot potato, not mine. Hot potato.
I need the snap and gyro to stay out of prison too.
Yeah, no shit. So now at this point, he starts seeing in the newspaper that people are talking about Bill's fiance being investigated. He's like, what's this fiance business?
Oh, no.
He still doesn't have any idea that they weren't business partners. So that's how dumb he is. And Nanette tells him that, no, I love you, and it's not blah, blah, blah. Tells him that it was just, she was misquoted at one point, and then all the papers picked it up. That's what happens, with these damn media, basically.
She's dumb, too.
Unreal, right? That's how stupid she is. 1995, this is, the next month, he does an interview here with the LA Times, and she says, quote, Nanette's here. Nanette should get in their own words, I think.
Absolutely.
Yeah, because she's a bigger asshole
She deserves it.
In their own words, Nanette here, Packard, quote, I didn't do it and Eric didn't do it. I don't think the police have any real facts. They couldn't because I didn't do anything. I stood to gain a lot more by being with Mr. McLaughlin than from an insurance policy. You just called your fiance Mr. McLaughlin, first
no
of all.
doubt.
Fucking idiot, number one. That doesn't sound too romantic or close.
And that just shoots holes in your whole relationship with Naposki, too.
Oh, it's ridiculous.
I stood more to gain by staying with him than being apart from him. That just ruins everything that you invented, first of all.
Yeah.
Because it's pretty obvious you didn't.
Yeah, and this was after they ended up breaking up. Naposki and her ended up breaking up because he said he started, pulling at the threads because they're both out of jail at this point. They're not in jail. They never got arrested. So they're
can unravel this story now.
Yeah, and he's finding little lies and things like that. Yeah. And he's starting to believe the fiance story, considering that they have pictures of him with holding her hand with a ring on it on the fucking on the news.
They have pictures of him on his knee holding a diamond ring up for her,
and she's frantically nodding up and down. They have like a flip book of her going up and down in picture form. So at this point, there's a witness here that gets lost in the shuffle for now. And ends up, they talk to her now, she gets lost in the shuffle because she never gave her name, and then she comes forward later on. We'll tell you how much later, but let's give you her knowledge at this point.
Fantastic.
She says she is Naposki's next door neighbor. Okay, she says that Eric came over after the murder, not right after, but like the next few days, or actually before the murder ever, but in the month leading up to the murder. He was coming over saying that Bill was sneaking into Nanette's room at night and assaulting her.
Oh, shit.
And saying that he was upset. He was so mad. He wanted to blow up Bill's plane. He was saying shit like that. Like, I'll blow up that asshole's plane. Who does he think he is? He can't be doing that to people. He admits to saying this, but says he was just blowing off steam. He's like, did his plane blow up? That's his literal quote. He says, I was just blowing off some steam, saying I'm going to blow up his plane. Did his plane blow up? No, I didn't do it. That was his plane. I'm innocent because his plane didn't blow up. That's his fucking claim, which is insane. It says that Naposki came over 3 weeks after the murder and said, quote, maybe I did do it. Maybe I didn't. Maybe I had someone else do it. And then told Koger that the cops only think he did it because he used to have a 9mm, and that's what Bill was shot with.
That's what he's dead with, right.
Now, this is what she tells the cops, and the cops go, there are 6 people on this earth that know what gun shot that guy.
And one
5 of them are detectives, and one of them is the guy who shot him. So how the fuck does he know it's a 9mm? So they ask him that. He goes, Nanette told me. And they go, so they're wondering, is it a leak? Is it, because who knows if she's fucking leaks out of a detective?
Oh, that's a good point. Yeah.
So they have no way of knowing if that's a smoking gun type thing or not. But the fact that he's going, I don't know where it is, that sounds very, very suspicious. He says...
How do you, when you're a gun owner, not know where your fucking gun is?
That's the other thing, obviously.
That's crazy.
That's why, well, he said he bought it for her later.
That's a stupid statement.
Now, about him telling her that maybe I did it, maybe I didn't line, this is his explanation for that later on. He says, quote, I said I didn't first, and then when she kept badgering me about it, it was more of a laughing conversation at that point. But to me, it's just an off-the-cuff comment.
You never, sir, never, sir, say, maybe I did it.
When you're being investigated for murder publicly, don't say, maybe I did, maybe I didn't, maybe I hired a guy. You never know. I mean, no, that's not how shit works.
That's hilarious.
So yeah, the cops are really, really curious about the gun thing with Nanette, but they never get to the bottom of it. That's the problem with this. This is his explanation of his night, December 15th, 1994. He says he went to the soccer game. It was the championship. It got over late, he said. Then Nanette drove him back to his home in Tustin, which is a town, dropped him off at his truck.
It's in Orange County.
Yeah, exactly. This whole thing is OC, Orange County. And then she tells him that she's going to go do some shopping, and she's going out, and he has to go to work. So he says he changed clothes at his house and went to work at the Thunderbird nightclub, which is 131 yards away from the residence. Their residence, not his. Says that he got a page from his boss on the way to work. There's pagers. If you're too young to remember, pagers were little things that beeped and then they have a number on them. You have to go to a payphone, which is a box that other people have licked and rubbed on their asshole, and you pay to have the privilege to press against your face.
And put their bubble gum into your ear.
It's awful. So he says he pulled into a Denny's and used a payphone, which is a white trashiest thing you can do. He pulls into Denny's to use a payphone using
fucking Irvine.
In Irvine, using a calling card. And the call, he said, was at 8:52. This is what happens here. And now he says that he couldn't possibly have gone the 12 miles in the 20 minutes it would have taken, for less than 20 minutes, because he would have had to be out of the house by 9:11, which is when the phone call took place, the 911 call, the 911 call. So that's his thing here, is he couldn't possibly get the 12 miles in 20 minutes, whatever, claims there's no way he could have done it.
Southern California traffic, I kind of believe him.
Kind of, but it's also at night, and it's also 25 years ago, or 20 years ago, too.
Straight clear at night.
Eric, at this point, was saying he was shocked about the thing, shocked about the whole fiance thing still. He was still rattled about this.
Still blown away.
A year later, he's like, I'm not sure. I think maybe that was shady. He's an idiot. Then the funny thing about the Bill McLaughlin and his daughters, the month after he dies, they receive a bank statement for January for December bank statement. And they see that there's $250,000 missing. Out of his
that's an awful lot of money.
They're like, where'd that go? So they dig into it a little bit. They find a check written for $250,000 the day before the murder. They get a copy of the check from the bank, and it is a forged signature of her dad. And guess where the money was deposited?
Eric Naposki.
Nanette's account. She forged the goddamn check.
And put it right in her own account.
The day before the murder.
He ain't even dead yet.
The balls on you, lady. Good Christ.
Jesus.
Wow. He's unreal. So he's not even dead. This is the day. So this is being planned.
All right.
At this point, they still don't press charges against these two.
Wow.
The detectives are pissed off that the DA won't press charges, and they're just, the cops were convinced that these two did it. They're like, they did it. Everything circumstantial or not.
Yeah.
If all the circumstantial points to them, come on, man.
Yeah.
They even found out that the keys in the door, the freshly cut ones, they traced it back to a hardware store. And the owner of the hardware store said, yeah, that big Eric Naposki guy came in and got those keys like 3 days ago, 3 days before the murder.
I remember those eyebrows anywhere.
Yeah, they were sharp, man. They were looking good. It was 2 days before the murder. He went and had keys made for the house.
Wow.
How do you explain that?
Yeah.
So 95, they don't arrest them for murder. Nanette is arrested and charged with stealing $500,000 from McLaughlin both before and after his death, because then she continued to pull money out of accounts and do all this shit. She's
a ruthless cunt, man.
She is ruthless. She had no anything, man. So she began taking money from his accounts in 1994, or in January of 1994.
All right.
So 11 months before the murder, she started doing this and planning a little before she met Eric. Almost like she thought, I can steal this money. If only I can get someone to kill him, and then met Eric and was like, that's the guy.
There's the
Perfect.
dummy.
Yeah. She was his the one, and he was hers also for different fucking reasons completely at this point. Like, yeah, come on, dummy, let's be pals. So she forged $350,000 in checks within 24 hours, the $250,000 check, and then a bunch more for adding up to $100,000 in that time period. So yeah, once they break up, Eric and Nanette here in '96, mid '95 they break up. Eric moves out of California. He doesn't want anything to do with her, it's a little hot. It's just you're in the local papers. Let's go back home. He goes back home, moves to New York. He kind of lives in the New York and Connecticut area. It's all kind of right there. 1996, Nanette pleads guilty to stealing nearly $500,000 from McLaughlin at this point, and the judge. Now, there's all this suspicion over her, and obviously that can't weigh into anything, but he gives her a suspended year in prison. She spends 180 days in jail.
Wow.
180 days. That's nothing.
For $500,000.
For $500,000. And God knows what else.
Yeah.
I mean, and she was pillaging.
Unbelievable.
And I'm sure, who knows if he had safes with cash and shit like that the kids didn't know about.
Around, they didn't know,
She took that like crazy. Now, at this point, 1996, Naposki, you'd think things are looking bad. Guess what reconstitutes itself?
Oh, no.
The World Football League.
Oh, no.
He signs with Barcelona Dragons in 1996. He's playing football again. It pulls that out of his ass, right? Unbelievable, right? And he's doing well. He has great seasons over there. It's nuts. So he's over there. 97, they win the World Bowl title. They win the World League title.
He's got a ring.
Yeah, he's got a ring. And he was like one of the main cogs of the team. I think he had 16 sacks one year over there.
Jesus.
He's killing it. He just had a great time in Barcelona, did awesome. She gets out of jail after her time in 96 and begins dating immediately, obviously, because she needs someone to pay the bills.
Yeah.
She marries John Packard, who, guess what? Another wealthy businessman.
What?
Another wealthy businessman. He lines right up.
How did she figure out how to have a story about being in prison?
Unbelievable. Well, it turns out, that's the thing. Packard knew about this, too. That's the other thing. Her other husband didn't. Yeah. She gets pregnant right away.
Yep.
Says, I'm going to lock this down. Yeah. That's how you make sure to get paid, is you get to have a child with the guy. They divorce very soon after that.
Oh, boy.
So I don't know, maybe if he didn't have enough money for her. At this point, 97, after Barcelona there in 97, he joins the University of New Haven football team coaching staff, Eric Naposki.
Naposki's coaching
He's coaching now. I mean, so this shit's behind them at this point.
They've outrun it.
He's coaching. He's moved across the country. Yep. He's won a world fucking whatever, a minor league football title in a European country. You know, she's got another husband and a baby. I mean, that's just old news. Like, oof, that was quite the chapter, huh?
Wow.
So at this point, they're divorced. What does she do? Finds another wealthy entrepreneur.
Jesus.
Another one. Where does she find them all?
Southern California.
Yeah, there must be like one bar they all go to, and she knows either that or that singles ad is powerful.
It is killing it.
Powerful. That's killing it right there.
Those notes. She's fantastic at writing notes on cars.
She's amazing. Yeah. Notes, boy. Yeah, short notes. She give her an ad.
She is a Shakespeare with 3 sentences.
She should do it. She should be in advertising. Yeah. She really should. It would be.
She really missed her calling.
She did. One sentence, she could sell anything. So she marries this guy, Bill McNeil. So there's another one of her names. They have another child. Nanette's fourth kid now.
Oh, no.
So, I mean, she has 4 kids now. Eric moves to Connecticut. He's got 2 kids of his own at this point. So, I mean, he's got a couple of kids. She's got another one, all these kids.
Completely forward.
They don't even think about it.
What death?
What Bill McLaughlin?
What murder?
Is this, right? I mean, who cares, right? That's what it is. He starts doing personal training back there. He does a bunch of if you look up Eric Naposki videos under videos on Google search, you will see him doing fitness videos.
Really?
He was in some workout videos because he's a big burly guy and he looks
training people.
And he looks like he's in his mid-late 30s, so you can try to sell it to guys who aren't 22 you can still get big and ripped, you know? So he does
Naposki something or other, Naposki shirts and Naposki hats.
I think it's for a company. He's just like a model or whatever, or a guy who does it. He tries to be an actor.
He's working for P90X.
Yeah, exactly. Tries to be an actor. Goes back to Orange County out to California to film kind of a sizzle reel, I guess, for something called Newport 40, which was described as a male version of the Real Housewives of the OC.
Awful.
Sounds fucking terrible.
I hate him.
It's scripted reality.
If you were rooting for him at all, I'm not now.
I've seen videos too. His character is the bad boy, where he's like, they show him like going like, I don't really care what anybody says. Yeah. And then like, they'll yell cut and he'll be like, is that okay? Am I all right? Like, is that cool? And they're like, dude, you got to do it more like this. And he's like, all right, let's try again. It's the stupidest fucking thing ever. Like, he can't act, obviously. He's a football player, whatever. So he's just a big jacked up douche. And,
big dummy.
They showed him riding his Harley on the thing. Like, they tried to make him like, he's the cool, whatever. So little time goes by, 2004. He's, like I said, he's got a couple of kids. He opens a supplement store, EJ's Supplements in White Plains, New York. I don't know where the J came from.
Yeah,
maybe that's I have no idea. Maybe he's a business partner.
Yeah.
I don't know, because his name's Eric Naposki. There's not a fucking J in his name. So.
Not one.
EJ's Supplement in White Plains, New York, which is like north of the city there by...
Eric will get you jacked. That's what it is.
Eric will get you jacked. Jacked Eric Supplements. Come down and get some.
Eric's jacked supplements.
So at this point, that's 2004. Nanette at this point is known as a Bible-quoting Christian.
No.
Found religion.
Oh, what a bitch.
There's trouble right around the corner.
Around the corner.
Her days of being a free woman are numbered when she finds religion. The second that Bible opened up, boy, the clock started ticking.
Tick-tock.
A detective opened up the cold case and blew the dust off it and said, I don't know why, but I feel I'm drawn to this case right now.
There's a pulse on this one still.
There's something going on I really need to get into here. So, she's a Bible-touting, quoting Christian. She lives like 30 minutes from Newport still. She still lives in the OC. She's still in Orange County. Yeah, sticking around the crime scene with McNeil there, her new husband. At this point in 2007, a detective named Larry Montgomery is put on this case.
I like him.
He's an old-timey... Yeah. It's central casting, basically. From everything I read, and I read a million articles and stories, everything I read, he's central casting, old-timey, gruff detective that they stick on a case, and they're like, shake this one and see if it's got some life in it, and, really see what it does. And he'll go in and just beat it up and go,
they never followed this lead.
They never followed this lead. That witness, what happened to her? I'm going to go find her. Shit like that. He does like serious, hardcore,
I like him.
Cold case, movie-style detective work.
Montgomery's the name of somebody that does that kind of shit.
Absolutely. Larry Montgomery.
Right.
Detective Larry Montgomery. He spends 2 years.
He's retired twice, and he's coming back to triple dip. That's what it
the
is.
thing. Yeah. He's like, what the hell?
He's like, I got a couple of
pensions.
I'll just fuck around with these.
And the prosecutor, I believe Mark Murphy's his name, the prosecutor wants this shit. He wants these two. Yeah. Still, this is 2007, which is 13 years ago at this point. And now, so he spends 2 years combing through the evidence. And what he says is really interesting about Naposki here. He says, quote, this is amazing. He says, quote, because this is like watching because he has all the, you can also see some of his interrogation footage online too. I got to watch that. He says of him, quote, innocent people, when they're being accused of something, are very powerful with their statements of innocence. So when I first was looking at it, I said, boy, Mr. Naposki sounds innocent. In greater detail, when you look and see the lies and that he's very powerful and positive about, and then it just turns out they're lies, you see he just has that ability. He's a good liar. So it's like, at first I was like, yeah, he might be innocent. And I went, no, he's really good at being full of shit. That's all it is. He's just super full of shit. Yeah. Never mind. So it's so funny. This is when it starts coming out here. 2009, by the way, 2009, EJ Supplements fails too. So now business has failed, and now on May 22nd, 2009, they arrest both of them.
Nice.
Naposki in Connecticut, in Greenwich, Connecticut, and Nanette in her home in California at the same time. They arrest them both. They bring him in. They're extraditing his ass back to California with the quickness. Her husband at this point, William McNeil, had no clue that this was ever even a thing, never heard of Bill McLaughlin, didn't know she was a murder suspect, didn't know shit about shit. I'm sorry, asshole, but this is in 2009.
Yeah.
Google someone. Google your wife.
Check this woman out.
If you Google search Nanette, any of those names, you'll get a bunch of shit that says there was a lot of articles in 1994, 1995 about this. Also, too, she went to jail. There's articles about that. Millionaire's suspect wife goes to jail for embezzlement.
Was the Dayline episode prior to that, too? That would be awesome.
Oh, there's
if she's sitting on the couch with him on a Friday night with a bowl of popcorn.
That would be amazing.
And Dateline starts to come out. She's like, let's watch something else. I don't want
to watch this. Let's not do this. Let's not do this at all.
I hate this show.
So this poor bastard, man. I mean, this guy. Naposki, of his arrest, I find it funny because he says he's backing out of his driveway, or he comes out of his house in Greenwich, Connecticut, which is a nice place.
Yeah.
And he says there's 4 cop cars, and they have, assault rifles and flak jackets on. And it's not like, he was going to start having a shootout with them. This is from 15 years ago. He's like, hi.
What's up, guys?
Literally, and they're like, get on the ground. He's like, how's it going? Yeah. Like, he has no clue why they're there.
I'm just on my way to go shutter EJ's, fellas. I'm not doing anything wrong.
I got a failed business I got to go take care of. Is that bad?
I got to go unload some fish pills. You guys want some fish oil?
It's the same as amoxicillin. Cheaper. You can take it. It's the same thing.
I got cranberry pills. How are your kidneys?
Scientifically. So he's saying they're coming in his face with assault rifles and saying, get on the ground. And he's going, am I under arrest? And they say, yes, for murder. And he's like, what the fuck? Like, because literally he said he just didn't even think of that. That was so long ago. They said for murder, and he was like, murder? What the hell did that come from? And then he's like,
oh yeah, that old man.
Oh yeah, that guy I shot 6 times. Fuck, all right, yeah. Okay, I figured that might happen at some point. I mean, so you think about it at this point. I mean, Nanette, she's just got arrested. Yeah. She had a really good life.
She's got 4
Rich
kids.
guys, 4 kids that are now going to miss their mother.
Yeah.
Now she's going to go to jail. You got Bill McLaughlin's dead. Pudding Boy, by the way, died in 2009.
Oh, my God.
Pudding Boy died in the same year. Oh, no, Pudding Boy died in 1999. Poor Pudding Boy died.
He's been dead for 10 years.
Poor Pudding Boy's. I'm sorry I didn't give you guys a Pudding Boy update and tell you when he died. But Pudding Boy was dead in 1999. The 2 girls don't have a father. The 2 grown daughters don't have a father. Now Eric Naposki's got 2 kids. Also 2 little kids that don't have a father. He's also married to a woman that's now divorcing him. I feel bad, Jimmie, for all of these people. I feel so bad. But Jesus Christ, not even close to as bad as I feel for poor Eric Naposki. He's self-employed in the health, wellness, and fitness.
Oh, no. How did he find that?
No, in Richmond, Texas. No, Eric, you poor son of a bitch. Oh, if you look up...
thinks you're an ex-fucking football-playing murderer.
Do you have any idea how deep I had to dig to get this Eric Naposki, Jimmie? It wasn't on page 2.
No.
It wasn't on page 6. It wasn't on page 9, Jimmie. This shit was deep in the archives. If there was
at least they bury him.
Whatever they did to Jesus when they stuck him in there, they put another rock in front for this shit, man.
Fucking wheel rock in front.
This poor son of a bitch. Jesus. I've never felt worse for anybody, except for maybe Art Schleister, who was an investment guy. I was like, no, that poor bastard. He can't help it. This guy, though, this poor son of a bitch.
Poor bastard.
So Matt Murphy, the prosecutor at this point, going forward in this case, he's prosecuting everybody, but starting with Naposki, he goes first. He has never lost a murder case in his whole career. Boy. So they're like, I saw interviews with like Naposki's lawyers, and they're like, no, it doesn't matter. He's not.
He's due for one.
He can't make up the facts, all right? I mean, I don't care how good of a lawyer you are. They're like, no, we're not afraid of him. Like, come on. It's so funny. So
he's due for a loss.
Yeah. He's due for a loss, Hey,
it's time.
The odds, you know what I mean? They're bound to work out in our favor. So.
You don't win 18 games in a season and then get the Super Bowl too. It doesn't happen.
See what happened to even Tom Brady, you know what I mean? So Naposki at this point has an opinion on this, and he says, quote, in their own words, quote, it's hard to get a fair trial 15 years later. Am I innocent? Absolutely. 100%. Can I prove it? I hope so. Can they prove I'm guilty? I don't think that's possible because I didn't do it. He's turned into such an asshole.
I don't know. I'm not sure yet.
Do I have conversations with myself? Sometimes.
All the time. He's that Kevin Nealon question asker guy.
When he speaks of himself in the third person, too, he doesn't even call himself Eric or Eric Naposki. He calls himself Mr. Naposki.
Oh, my God.
I swear to God. He's like, did Mr. Naposki do this? No, Mr. Naposki didn't. You're like, what a dipshit you are. You own a failed supplement store, you asshole. Stop saying that shit.
You lost track of a 9mm, you douchebag.
You're not that smart. So at this point, it comes out in the trial of Naposki, comes out that, like, the week of the murder, Nanette bought Naposki alligator boots, like some crazy expensive alligator boots, and a motorcycle.
Oh, boy.
Didn't they see Goodfellas?
Yeah.
Don't buy anything big, fellas. No. Don't get anything big.
Don't go crazy.
Yeah, that's why the guy got killed, because he brought the new Cadillac in. Get your fucking shit together.
And he wore those gator boots while riding that bike.
Johnny Roast Beef had to die. Yeah. I'm sorry. That's what happens. He put them on. He fired it up.
Yeah.
Think about it. I want to see the sizzle reel from the Newport 40 because I want to see if he's wearing those alligator
and
boots.
riding that motorcycle.
And riding that motorcycle in the trailer. Because the motorcycle, they might have given him a cool-looking one to ride, but the boots, maybe those are his riding boots. I'm so curious.
Absolutely.
Anybody, guys, if there's any Hollywood people that might have access to a 15-year-old sizzle reel of a failed reality show.
I want to see those.
Put it online for us, guys, because we need this shit. So it says basically, everybody says that Naposki is very animated during the trial, and I saw some footage. He makes faces. When he hears shit he doesn't like, he's like, sighs and rolls his eyes, makes facial expressions when he's just shaking his head when he disagrees with testimony, which honestly I would be doing too. Yeah. Can you imagine me in a courtroom while they said shit that I didn't think was true? I'd be...
It's like you at an open mic when you hear a joke that you've heard 30 times.
Yeah, and I'm like, shut the fuck up! You know that's not yours from the back of the room. Yeah, oh God, Jesus. We are those assholes, aren't we? Yeah. So, at this point here, he doesn't... Both the defense and the prosecutor also to agree that Nanette was in this too.
Yeah.
They're both like...
She has to be.
Well, the defense is like, this wasn't us, this was Nanette. And the prosecutor's like, yeah, she was in it too.
Yeah, we believe it.
You and her. Yeah. Her too, but you also. So
yeah. This isn't about her right now. We're talking about your role, motherfucker.
Yeah, so it's so hard because they can't argue, no, it wasn't her, it was him. They're just like, hey, no, both of you.
Yeah,
they're like, shit, how do we argue with
you're
that?
You're going too.
So the prosecutor, this is a good one. Murphy says in his opening about Nanette. This is amazing. I love this. Is the worst thing you could say here. She says, quote, if diabolical behavior was an Olympic sport, she'd be a gold medalist every year. She's a manipulator and an evil manipulator.
Diabolical. I love
Diabolical
that word.
behavior.
Yeah,
That's great.
She is Dr. Evil in female form. That's awesome.
Amazing. I love that. The Brits use diabolical all the time, and I love
great
that.
fucking word.
It's diabolical. Yeah. And I'm like, that's amazing. That's a great word.
She's a legit villain.
I've totally stolen that, too. I use that shit all the time now. I will, man. Like a bad setup for that sound system's diabolical. You can't do that shit.
I'll say it if the fucking grocery store shorts me change. This is diabolical.
So they end up testing the bullets now from Mr. McLaughlin's chest cavity. Yeah. They test these bullets. They can't get the exact gun to it because they don't have Naposki's gun.
Right.
But they know he had a 9mm Beretta, and these bullets were shot by a 9mm Beretta.
Uh-oh.
So circumstantial. There's a lot of 9mm Berettas, but there's a shitload of 9mm, and this one had to be a Beretta.
Okay.
So that's a coincidence. With the key thing that you add all these things together, this is a huge pile.
Yeah.
This is not like Adnan Syed with these cell phone towers.
Right.
This is not that. This is like...
They happen to pin him close by.
This is like everyone saw him like get ready, do the thing, get the gun out, do the thing, and then someone turned around to look at something during the shooting and said, didn't see him shoot him exactly. It's like that sort of thing.
All this shit happened, though, and it all piles up to him.
He's depending on that phone call that he said he made at 8:52 from Denny's, the white trash special there. Right. They had the Grand Slam white trash special going on, or the phone call and a breakfast for $3.25. So he says that he no longer has the phone records because he thought this shit was over, so he threw his phone records out, which that's honestly reasonable. You wouldn't save that. I probably would, because I would say, just in case they try to convict me of murder, there's no statute of limitations on murder.
That might be framed on my wall.
Yeah, I might keep that.
Right.
Yeah, so I guess the company didn't keep them because he called with a calling card. Yeah. I guess the calling card company didn't keep the records that long either, from 20 years ago. Some idiot bought a throwaway calling card. They don't give a shit. So, and the cops apparently never requested them in '95, which they should have. But a lot of times, if they think it's somebody, they don't want to get evidence that might exonerate them, because then you have to turn that over. It's exculpatory. Otherwise, you end up with a Brady violation, and the whole,
that guy goes free,
and an undisclosed podcast that follows. A whole podcast, 18 different podcasts dedicated to freeing one Pakistani man. So so they never requested them. The phone records don't exist, but the police. So what they did was they were like, okay, they did a bunch of trips from Denny's to the house. Nice. Could we get there and shoot this guy? They reenacted it, just like in Serial again, when Sarah Koenig did that route to Best Buy 100 times.
Fucking let's go.
So anyway, they do the trip. They say there's plenty of time to do it. No problem at all. You could easily get there and shoot the guy and be out of the house. The defense attorneys, of course, did it, and they said it was impossible. There's no way to get there. You would be 15 minutes late.
You got the 405. You got the fucking...
Forget it. It's impossible.
You got the toll roads.
So we have varying degrees from easy, no problem, to impossible. Can't do it. It's a mountain and we can't move it. Like I said, the keys are freshly cut, all of that shit. Eric, at this point, they bring up something that he has a hard time also with. They find a notebook in his car, and on one of the pages of the notebook, upper right-hand corner, is Bill's license plate number. Bill McLaughlin's license plate number written in.
That's a problem.
And circled, right? That's a problem. And they're like, why would that happen?
Yeah.
And his attorneys, when asked about this later on, are like, it doesn't matter. Is that a little suspicious? Yeah, fine. Does that mean he killed her? No. It's like, yeah, but when you add it in with everything else, it all adds up.
He's clearly watching the guy.
Yeah, he's clearly watching the guy. Now, Eric doesn't take the stand during the trial, too, which he says later on he was stupid not to do. He should have taken the stand, but he shouldn't have, because they would have brought out all of his nefarious horseshit here.
They would have ripped him apart.
Yeah, he has later on, not in court obviously, but later on, he has an explanation for the plate number thing. He says that he was suspicious of Nanette and what was going on with her and Bill, and if the whole situation was really the way he said it was, she said it was. So he had one of his friends follow her around and see what was going on.
Naposki got the license plate number that way.
And so he said his friend called and said, no, neither of them left the house yet, and gave him both plate numbers, and that was Bill's plate number on it.
All right.
That was his excuse. The police got a hold of that friend who said, I don't know what the fuck you're talking about. That never happened. So that's a complete load of shit.
Yeah.
But he made that up. He's a good liar, according to Larry
That's
Montgomery.
a great story.
It's a great story.
Yeah.
It makes sense. You go, all right, well, I can see that. Oh, no, that didn't happen.
No.
Okay. He says shit that's plausible, and then when you see the actual evidence of things, you go, no, none of that's true at all. These people, and her too, they're perfect for each other, these two. They really should be. So,
perfect murderers.
July 14th, 2011, the verdict comes in. The jury took 7 hours. This is a 3-week trial, which is a long trial.
Yeah.
3 weeks, 28 witnesses, which is a shitload.
Wow.
240 exhibits. So this is a trial.
It's deep.
This is involved. You know how long it took them to convict him? 7 hours.
Wow.
They came back and said, get the fuck out of here, felony murder, you asshole.
Wow.
Gone. So, yeah.
You took 3 weeks of our lives away to deal with this shit.
Yeah.
We're going to give you 7 hours to convict your
7
punk
hours,
ass.
you dickhead. They all got in there, and that, like we said, that was just to like order lunch and shit, like in the other.
Yeah.
They ordered lunch. They were like, all right, let's send them away.
Let's get a salad. Everybody want some cold cuts?
Now, in their own, this is prosciutto I've been hearing about. So, on the conviction, in their own words here, from Eric Naposki on the conviction, he's, what happened? He's just, in their own words,
he's
quote, shocked, quote, they just made a mistake. There's no other way to look at it. I thought you had to be convicted on evidence, not suspicion, not lies that you told the police, not Nat Murphy's closing statement. Obviously, there was no plot. If there was a plot, then you would have found me 15 years later in Nanette's house. If we accomplished our goal and nobody got arrested, why did I leave in the first place? Because you realized you were with a snake woman.
Psychopath.
A psychopath.
Right.
And also, too, she probably didn't have any more use for you anymore.
Right.
She has her money, and you killed her boy. What the fuck does she need you for?
Or how about, why does a murder just keep you together forever?
Yeah.
I haven't murdered anybody with my wife. I'm still with her.
Yeah, you're fine. Maybe you should. Maybe that'll strengthen. Next time,
strengthen the bond.
Anytime there's trouble, Jimmy, I think that's what a therapist would tell you.
Give her a call.
Maybe you should, kill a hobo together.
Yeah.
Just, go up, take turns, and just kill him. I think it'll bond you two together.
Don't forget going to pottery classes and making a pot together to bond.
Yeah.
It's blood. Blood is what bonds. You must spill blood.
You need to spill blood in the streets.
Of somebody that has a lot of money and take their money. That's how it does it.
That'll work too.
So that's what he says is the reason they're not together. If we killed them, we'd still be together.
We'd still be together. No, you wouldn't be.
Relationship's still sour because you both draw air and you're both crazy.
He still wasn't a wealthy entrepreneur, and that's who she married more of.
Right.
So that's the other problem.
That's a good point.
Too. Yeah,
you don't have any fucking money, you moron.
Money, dipshit. Yeah, I needed you. I fucked you for a while so you'd shoot this guy.
Right.
Moron. Now I'm going to marry a real person who's rich and can take care of me. Enjoy your supplement store.
Go
douchebag.
supplement.
So sentencing on this is delayed for about a year, so the prosecutors can try to flip Naposki against Nanette.
Nice.
And give him a better sentence.
Strategy.
It's a good sentence, but he never flips.
Really?
He never flips. He says, it's so funny because he'd have to admit his own guilt if he said it was her. So he says, I think she did it, just I didn't have anything to do with it. So if you say, did you think he did it? She did it? He'll go, yeah, I think she had something to do with it. How did it happen? I don't know. It's not my thing.
wasn't there.
She dropped me off and that was that. I don't know. Maybe she did it herself. Maybe she hired a guy. No clue. I don't know.
I'm going to do life instead.
Yeah. So at this point, This is fucking wonderful. He is sentenced to, say it with me, Jimmie, life without the possibility of parole.
No possibility.
None. You, sir,
may fuck off.
And keep fucking off. And
forever.
I'll get the binoculars, and I still want to see you fucking off. Keep on going, pal. Life without parole. So this is obviously Jesus Christ. And so now Nanette's trial starts.
Really?
So I had to wait for that. Nanette's trial starts here. She starts here. Now, Bill's daughter, Kim, at this point says, we always thought she was a gold digger, but we didn't think she was evil enough to kill someone. Which makes a lot of sense, right? Pre-trial, the attorney for her, Mick Hill is his name, said she didn't do it. Naposki did it alone. There's no doubt he did the shooting. The question is why. I think it was jealousy, that he wanted Nanette all for himself. My client would never leave McLaughlin for a deadbeat loser like him. She's like, I'll insult him. Now, he also said, Mick Hill, about her in court, quote, Nanette is a cheater, a thief, but not a killer. Which is all, I guess that's shit you can't deny.
She didn't do it.
She didn't do anything. So she tried to look all stoic, and too. She wore her hair in a braid and all that. She pulled the Jodi Arias horse shit. That's been a card they've been playing forever. And everybody
look like
in
a
court.
librarian every day.
Yeah, it's ridiculous. So said she just paid attention, was very stoic. She did the exact thing you're supposed to do as a defendant, just sit there and look alert, but not retarded, not too crazy like him making faces and all that shit.
Don't grit your teeth.
Yeah,
every time they say his name.
Exactly. This trial, Kevin Johnston testifies in this trial.
Nice.
Yeah, we bring him back. Said that she cheated on him all the time. Told the Ted BMW story, the BMW from a guy named Ted story. The defense attorney asked, Mick Hill said, did her relationship with Ted last long? And he answered, quote, well, she was cheating on him with another guy. So
she was penning letters all over town.
Absolutely. So Hill asked, you kept a file on all her shenanigans? Johnston said, this is great, quote, I wouldn't come close to saying that was all of them. In other words, I have no clue what that fucking whore was up to.
There was a lot of dicks in there.
A lot. So he testifies that she left the soccer field at 8:20 that night with Naposki.
Oh.
Left super early, said they seemed to be in a big hurry to leave, didn't even stay for the trophy presentation. They got murders to do, and she's got to shop. You know how it goes. Also testifies about the call the next day where she says, I have an alibi and don't tell you Eric was involved and all that shit. Huge shocker.
Wait, he didn't take her advice? He brought him up?
Yeah. No, he was like, oh, no, it's fucking... So, huge shocker, May 19th. Guess what? She's convicted of murder. Are you shocked?
Oh, boy.
Are you surprised?
So shocked.
She's
so surprised.
This is 2012, convicted of murder at this point. So let's...
Done deal, wrapped up.
Done deal. Let's just go right
murder
to sentencing.
One, right?
Let's just go right to sentencing. This is, special circumstances murder.
Oh, shit.
This is so you can get either death penalty or without possibility of parole.
That's all they're choosing.
For financial gain.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're saying, we got you dead to rights.
It's over, bitch.
This is amazing here. By the way, too, one thing Naposki did, and one thing with him that was a pussy move, when they did the victim impact statements, he refused to come into court for that.
Oh, what a puss.
And the prosecutor called him a huge coward in court and all that shit. Instead, he yelled from the holding cell about, that he would okay for the arraignment or whatever the fuck it was. He's still a douchebag.
I don't want to hear what his family has to say. I'm out of here.
So now, for Nanette's sentencing, I'm not even going to give the judges thing. I'm going to give McLaughlin's daughter.
Yes.
Because this is perfect. She said it's short and it's sweet and it's perfect. She said, quote, your life has been a complete and utter waste. You're an abomination. You, ma'am, may fuck off. Life without the possibility of parole.
She gave her a fucking Bible quote.
She did.
That's awesome.
You are an abomination. Just a mismade object of God. That's what she called her.
Completely dismissed.
Beautiful, man. Beautiful. So Nanette, in 2013, she appeals this.
What?
On grounds that the 15-year delay in prosecution violated her constitutional rights. She said she could not help in her defense because she could not gather evidence because
she can't get a fair trial.
She said that phone records that were destroyed because Naposki's phone records that would have exonerated her were destroyed because of the time that went by, and if she had those records, she'd be fine. Judge said basically, doesn't really matter. The prosecution did it. He could have done it anyway.
Right.
Doesn't matter if you made the phone call or not. We still think you fucking killed her, lady. Sorry.
Phone call doesn't matter to me.
So a book comes out at this point. It's one of these. God. It's by a woman named Caitlin Rother. It's called I'll Take Care of You. And it's one of these, like, I call it like true crime for like middle-aged women.
Yeah.
Basically, where it's like, you know, the love triangle. It's a Lifetime movie on paper, basically. Yeah. They wrote a couple of books like that were, you know, whatever.
Did they make her out to be a bitch in them? I hope so.
They did, but it was like, it was just very like salacious. It was very stuck on the, you know, the love triangle, the scandal, and it wasn't so much the, you know, whatever.
The fact that she's a bitch.
The fact that this shit that we have in front of us here.
She's a snake, and Eric Naposki's dumb as fuck.
So thankfully, February 3rd, 2014, her appeal is denied.
Good.
Judge said, like I said, wouldn't have mattered. Eat shit. You may continue to keep on fucking off forever. Till you croak. Have a good one, lady. She's gone now. Now, Naposki, March 9th, 2016. This is recently.
Wow.
This is still not resolved. He files an appeal also. He is saying he is innocent. He's saying he knows who the real killer is.
Oh, shit.
He said it's this Hollywood producer guy who's like sells coke and is crazy and
sounds legit until you start calling the guy.
Yeah, he had a thing that Nanette was hooking up with him, and then he had a beef with McLaughlin. He made up this whole horse shit, right? So he files an appeal saying that the judge in the first case, William Froberg, made faulty rulings and allowed a juror to stay on the panel that called Naposki, quote, creepy. Which, you've seen him in court. He looks creepy as shit. Yeah. He's a bald, creepy guy.
He's clammy,
who's
his
making
skin's
faces.
all gray, yeah.
Yeah, they're probably afraid of him physically.
You are creepy, sir.
Totally. So they also said that they can use Pacific Bell, the phone company's records, to prove that there was a call made at 8:52 from the Denny's that night, which no one gives a fuck about this Denny's call. God damn it, Naposki, you asshole. So that's still going on. He has a quote about the whole thing. Let's wrap this up with one little more thing. Let's wrap up the story with a quote from Eric Naposki in their own words. Quote, "I had a beautiful life. All that I am guilty of is having the wrong girlfriend. She threw me under the bus. We're not talking about OJ's case, DNA, shoe prints, bloody glove at the scene. I had none of that stuff. I know I'm up the river without a paddle, but I guarantee I'm walking out of here one day."
Wow. He is really, really positive about this shit.
He's in the middle of this appeal.
I'm not OJ. Listen, man, OJ got off, bro.
Absolutely.
Don't compare yourself to him.
Yeah, you should have been a better football player that could afford better lawyers, and maybe you wouldn't be in the situation you're in. Maybe if you had a Heisman Trophy and a couple of rushing records, you'd be fucking...
Been in the Naked Gun, bro. That's your fault.
Exactly. Do some Leslie Nielsen pictures and then get back to us. So, Naposki is serving his time at the High Desert State Prison in California, and you know where Nanette is? She is at Chowchilla Women's Facility with our girl, Sally McNeil. I told you it'd come full circle,
That's
Jimmie.
fantastic.
I told you it would come full circle.
Hysterical.
And she's technically a McNeil. They're the McNeil girls.
Yeah.
I wonder if they call her fucking Mustang Nanette also. Amazing. Got to listen to that episode if you missed that. And also, too, if you are a wealthy man who's looking for, you know, a nice woman to converse with and send letters with.
She knows the Bible back to front.
Knows the Bible. You can meet Nanette Packard on meetaninmate.com, guys.
Awesome.
Meetaninmate.com. Her inmate, it's Nanette Packard, number WE as in Eric Naposki. WE 4559 Central California Women's Facility, P.O. Box 1508, Chowchilla, California 93610.
Fantastic.
Holy shit. Please write to her, people. Holy fuck, this is amazing.
Friend her and call her a cunt.
Friend her and call her a cunt. And friend the poor non-Eric Naposki, Eric Naposki.
I'm going to find that fucker on Facebook.
And say, dude, you're a good guy.
I'm so sorry.
I'm sorry, brother. I'm sorry for this horrible podcast.
The guy that shares a name with you is a cunt.
Holy shit. Was that a story or was that a tale, bro?
That's a salacious story.
That was one. Yeah, that's one of those where I'm like, oh my God. I didn't have any idea this was this crazy. So
unbelievable.
That's Eric Naposki and Nanette Packard, McNeil, Johnston, your asshole, fucking whatever the hell. All of them wrapped up into one.
Rest in peace, McLaughlin.
Rest in peace, Pudding Boy.
Thanks for what you brought us in terms of inventions, too.
Hey, you know what? Pudding Boy had heart. He tried to call 911.
He tried to wrestle through life.
He did.
It just didn't happen for him.
He gave it a shot. So, anyway, that's this crazy goddamn story, Jimmie.
There it is.
It's nuts, man. So thank you guys for listening to that.
Man.
A couple of things. I want to thank all of our listeners out there for iTunes reviews, like we said before. Thank you guys. Please, really seriously, get on there and help us out with those iTunes reviews. It helps us out so much.
Yep.
We actually cracked the top 100 in our category in the UK last week.
That's fantastic.
Which is really awesome and a cool thing. We were above podcasts that are put out by major networks.
Right.
And that's
BBC
and Podcast One and places like that. We are two schmuck comics that aren't journalists. We don't have a network. All we have is you guys. All we have is the Crime and Sports movement. So join the Crime and Sports movement at Crime and Sports on Twitter. Get at us. crimeandsports@gmail.com, facebook.com/Crime and Sports. Talk to us. Tell your friends. Crime and Sports movement. Jimmie, hit them with your social media.
I'm Jimmie Whisman at Whisman Sucks, WHISMAN. Sucks on Twitter, Instagram, and that fucking Snapchat. It's so fun. The filters, I can't
Jesus
stop.
Christ, I can't do it. I am at Jimmie P is funny. Look for me, whatever. We're on there.
Yeah, man.
Get on there. Do that. Please help spread the word, guys. We just want to grow. And you guys seem to like the podcast, the people that leave the reviews and stuff. Spread it around so you can talk about it with your friends. Tell 60 friends if you have them. I don't care. Whatever. Just try to help us out. If not, whatever. Just enjoy the episode. Sleep back. Have fun. Crime and Sports movement. For the last time here, live from these Crime and Sports studios. Next week, live from another Crime and Sports.
If you like Crime and Sports, you can listen early and ad-free now by joining Wondery Plus in the Wondery app or on Apple Podcasts. Prime members can listen early and ad-free on Amazon Music. Before you go, tell us about yourself by filling out a short survey at Wondery.com/survey.
A few miles from the glass spires of Midtown Atlanta lies the South River Forest. In 2021 and 2022, the woods became a home to activists from all over the country who gathered to stop the nearby construction of a massive new police training facility, nicknamed Cop City.
At approximately 9 o'clock this morning, as law enforcement was moving through various sectors of the property, an individual, without warning, shot a Georgia State Patrol trooper.
This is We Came to the Forest, a story about resistance.
The abolitionist mission isn't done until every prison is empty and shut down.
Love and fellowship.
It was probably the happiest I've ever been in my life.
And the lengths we'll go to protect the things we hold closest to our hearts. Follow We Came to the Forest on the Wondery app or wherever you get your podcasts. You can binge all episodes of We Came to the Forest early and ad-free right now by joining Wondery Plus.